My name is Hayden Hatch. I'm president of the Student Government Association here at Texas Tech, and I am honored to be here just as everyone else has mentioned. You have heard from some experts on the issue of ethics, and now you're going to hear from a normal student who does not proclaim to be an expert on this, but I hope I can contribute to this discussion today. Before I begin the presentation, my perspective when I was first asked to speak today was that there is a lack of critical discussion on this topic at our campus, and I suspect at many campuses across the nation. So I think that anything any of us have to say today is going to contribute to the overall message that when these things need to be talked about. So I'm excited to get to share a little bit. When I was running for the position that I hold now, I believe that I got elected solely on the basis that I was presenting ideas to students and talking critically about how we could get those ideas accomplished on a campus. And lots of times that surprises students that someone would want to take the time to try to do something for them, and someone who is passionate enough to see something on campus and want to change it. And the student government has over 80 members who feel that way. So I'm looking forward to this discussion today. When I was asked to speak, I was a little overwhelmed, and I thought, where do I start? The Carnegie Council is an amazing organization, but they're worldwide, and this is Global Ethics Day, and I'm just a political science student trying to take my life day by day and handle my responsibilities. So I was a little overwhelmed at the beginning, thinking about where I should start today, and then it kind of dawned on me that you don't have to be an expert to think about ethics, but you should probably start with yourself. How do my decisions affect those around me? That is a critical question I think is overlooked often. This is, in my opinion, the core of ethics, thinking about those around you and not just yourself. As a college student, I think it's very easy to focus on ourselves. I'm constantly worried about my grades. Why would I be worried about anyone else's grades? My job and my responsibilities, my reputation and my joys in my life. I think it's easy to fall victim to this. In fact, as college students, we're often told that college is an opportunity to find ourselves and discover ourselves. But I'd like to offer today that perhaps finding others is more important in your college experience. Seeking out ethics and seeking these questions must start by thinking of those around you first and how you can act for the good of your community. Now, students thinking about their neighbors, their community, and their city and their country is very, very important. I live in a neighborhood right next to campus, and I've got neighbors next door on either side of me that are not college students. And I think oftentimes college students don't even think about the house besides them and that community that they are a part of in their city. This is very important, and luckily I think in Lubbock, Texas, we have a city who is very welcoming to us as college students. But do we always think about how we want to be welcoming to them? Well, I sure hope so. I would like to offer today that it is important as a college student not to fall victim of this isolated thinking. I'd offer that there is a world out there that will affect us, whether we are aware of it or not. But it must start locally. I am not going to pretend that I think about the global issues on a day-to-day basis. I get very caught up in my own world, as I suspect many college students do. But it would be nice first to just start thinking about your local community, your peers and your students around you, and the city that you live in as a college student. As a student, I believe that I will experience a natural progression of thinking about first myself and then gradually the world around me. But why should we wait? Why should we wait before we graduate college to begin this thinking? We will all enter careers with bosses and subordinates. We'll begin families, and we will experience a shift from being responsible for ourselves to being responsible for others. But I offer today that perhaps we are already responsible for others, and we can begin this thinking long before we enter what we refer to as the real world, because I believe that we are a part of the real world, and we are a very important part of that world as college students. And it's up to us to take advantage of that. I believe it is important to be ever cognizant of the world around you, and as a college student, I'd like to believe that I'm an important part of that. Do not isolate your thinking and your conversations to your friend group, and not just to your campus, not only to your town either. but think globally. And it is a rough challenge, but that is a challenge today. What we're recognizing here is to begin thinking and conversing about global issues. There are, in fact, students all over the world. I know sometimes we tend to think that in America, a college student is different than maybe a college student somewhere else. And that is true. I think we're very gifted, and we have lots of opportunities here. But there are students all over the world facing the same problems that we do. It is very easy to focus small, but I think ethics can begin by thinking big instead. This type of thinking will prepare us for the world that we are about to enter. I believe that we do have a voice, and silence speaks for itself. It is up to us to take advantage of our voice in the world. So, how do we do this? How do we accomplish these things? Well, one thing that was obvious to me when I was thinking about this is to use technology. We have all the information in the world at our fingertips. And how often do we just sit back and get on Facebook and isolate our thinking through our social media? Too often for myself, I can tell you. So I'd like to present a challenge to the college students of the world today and in our local community. That is to take claim on a bigger scale to the global issues that are going around. Do not be a bystander to these things. It is important to have an opinion. That opinion is not right or wrong. I think the important thing here is to begin conversations on a global level. Do not be afraid to have an opinion. And I think one thing that I've experienced when I talk to people about these things is that often that opinion changes. And I think that is a great thing. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, when I'm speaking about things like this, and I think that's an important first step. So don't be worried about being right and wrong. Even the experts disagree about these things. It is taking a stance and becoming a stakeholder that matters. So before I close, I would just like to kind of go along with the theme of the Carnegie Council, and that is to seek the common good and to seek peace. Begin your thinking as a college student and then carry it on for the rest of your life that there are other people and that relative gains is not the most important thing out there. But perhaps thinking about the common good when you're making decisions in your personal life and with your family, in your community, and then on a worldwide scale, that concept remains the same. So today, as I'm honored to speak here, I'm going to take a pledge to be more cognizant of the world around me, because I believe my voice matters, and I sure hope that college students around the world believe that their voice matters too. So thank you very much for having me today. I know we're going to hear from another expert coming up. I'm very excited to hear from Dr. Webb, so thank you very much.